We're going to get into gratitude, you guys.
Love it.
I picked gratitude tonight because we talk about all the different foundations and parts to the codependency, and gratitude is a way to help manage and heal from it. So I thought it was a nice segue into looking at ways we can manage and heal from and be in recovery from the codependency. And gratitude is amazing. Right? Shake your heads. Yeah. Um, it is. It's such a simple way to change. There she is. Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you now.
Hey, good to see you. I figured it out.
All right. Um, it's such a simple way to change chemistry, to change moods, to add pathways, to change everything. It's just a simple process that just takes some practice. So I'm going to have Liz start reading it since it's a little bit long.
Okay. So
All
again,
right.
just click that link that's in the chat and go down to the end of that document, and that's where this reading will be. Okay, gratitude. So this is by Brene Brown. Um, there is overwhelming evidence that gratitude is good for us physically, emotionally, and mentally. There's research that shows that gratitude is correlated with better sleep, increased creativity, decreased entitlement, decreased hostility and aggression, increased decision-making skills, decreased blood pressure. The list goes on. Robert Emmons wrote, research on emotion shows that positive emotions wear off quickly. Our emotional systems like newness. They like novelty. They like change. We adapt to positive life circumstances so that before too long, the new car, the new spouse, the new house, they don't feel so new and exciting anymore. But gratitude makes us appreciate the value of something. And when we appreciate the value of something, we extract more benefits from it. We're less likely to take it for granted. In effect, I think gratitude allows us to participate more in life. We notice the positives more, and that magnifies the pleasures you get from life. Instead of adapting to goodness, we celebrate goodness. We spend so much time watching things, movies, computer screens, sports. But with gratitude, we become greater participants in our lives as opposed to spectators. I think adapting to goodness without feeling gratitude is a function of scarcity. We either want things for the wrong reasons, then we feel disappointed when we acquire them, or we just can't accumulate enough to feel whole, so we accumulate and adapt, never valuing or appreciating. And the line about living our lives versus being spectators simply reminds me of how many people I've interviewed who talked about simply wanting to feel more alive. Is part of the value of practicing gratitude extending the life of the emotions that make us feel most alive? Gratitude is an emotion that reflects our deep appreciation for what we value, what brings meaning to our lives, and what makes us feel connected to ourselves and others. While gratitude is an emotion, if we want to experience its full power, we must also make it a practice.
Practice.
The research has taught me that despite the catchy phrase, an attitude of gratitude, gratitude is a practice. It's tangible. An attitude is a way of thinking. A practice is a way of doing, trying, failing, and trying again. The research participants that I interviewed over the years described keeping gratitude journals, doing daily gratitude meditations or prayer, creating gratitude art, using gratitude check-ins with their teams at work, even stopping during their stressful, busy days to actually say these words out loud. I am grateful for. In our house, we go around the table at dinner and take turns sharing one gratitude. It's small, but it's also big. It gives me a window into the lives of the people I love the most. It's celebrating goodness. Gratitude is a practice that can enrich our lives in meaningful ways.
Thank you, Liz.
Mhm.
There's a lot of good richness in this reading. Um, the thing that's most important is what she talks about as being a practice. Everything that we do and explore in this group is about how to practice it. You know, because if we can have aha moments all the time and 5 minutes later forget what the aha was. So it's the practice, implementing and practicing the the input and sharing that we do in this group. I think it's really important just to be, and you guys are practicing by showing up every week. Do you know that? You are practicing your commitment to yourself even. Um, so have you ever, who has looked at gratitude in the light that Brene talks about it, because we talk, gratitude is like a buzzword, it's like being gratitude can change your life. And those things are true, but I like the way she broke it down and introduced it and explains it more thoroughly. Um, so anybody want to chime in, like what came up for you, what's percolating? How do you use gratitude? Do you use gratitude on a ongoing basis?
Um, my name's Jennifer, and hi. It's my first time at this group. I was at Villa Kelly Ma retreat, and now I'm home. I really look forward to this, like having something, like having a plan to come to. And so when I was there, I learned just the purpose of practice, or kind of. I started and I implemented a practice, and as part of my practice I write down things that I'm grateful for every day. But what I picked up from the reading was, it was like more, I don't do this part. It was more actionable, like taking action on what you're grateful for. And so I don't have the reading in front of me. I'd like to like look for it and read it again. But that, what I picked up from the little I heard was that. I'd like to know more about that part.
Yeah. Jennifer, if you look in the chat, first of all, welcome. Uh,
Yeah.
Second of all, look in the chat, and I posted a link to the readings, and then you can go all the way down. And then if you do want to get the readings in your email inbox on Thursday mornings, then sign up for that email list and you'll
Okay.
get it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate that, your commitment to yourself and to the group. Um, I was gonna say,
Well, I'd like to comment on what Jennifer
I,
asked or did.
yes, please, go.
Because, and this is really like, I don't know, kind of a lot of things come up for me with gratitude. I just know that when I am in the practice of gratitude, and by that I mean like really doing the gratitude list in the morning, gratitude list in the evening before I go to bed, it really just shifts like how I start, well, clearly how I start and end my day. It's it can take me out of like maybe a negative mood or um I don't know. What I do know is that it's feeding me goodness in my mind. And that's always good because it can get messy up there. And so when I think you had a question, Jennifer, about the practice of it. And to me, that's what came up in terms of practice. Like I really find the gratitude lists very uh, kind of transformative. I think about it in terms of like carving new pathways in the brain, really, because I wasn't oriented toward gratitude. when I went into VKM, like definitely not. And just kind of repeating over and over again, it kind of shifts over time. It has for me anyway, my orientation in the world. Um, but one thing I really loved about the reading was how she said it's a window into your loved ones, like who they are. And I love that because I've never really thought of it that way before, but it is because it kind of reveals what they value, what has meaning for them. And that is like something that I don't know, I find refreshing because now I can see myself asking that question to other people. Like I was just thinking of my brother when I talked to my brother, like, hey bro, what are you grateful for today? Talk to me.
Talk to me.
You know?
Yes.
And I like that as a way of connection. Anyway.
No, I love that. And I'm always going to turn it inward, that the same thing, whatever you're grateful for, tells you it's a window into you, what you choose to focus on, what you choose to put your attention to. What you're grateful for is a reflection of you as well. It's a window to you, as well as others for sure. I love that. And the other thing about it is when you're in gratitude, your whole body, your mind, body, spirit is connected. Do you guys know that when you are really in gratitude and feeling and experiencing gratitude, it is the conduit to all three, mind, body, spirit, because it's an amazing feeling, and it's also an amazing experience, and it's a reflection. It has so many dimensions, gratitude does. And we hear it, and it's a buzzword a lot, but if you really honor it and really look at the reading and how she explains it as well, but also if you not just practice it by saying, oh, I'm grateful for blah blah blah, but say you're grateful, and then I want you guys to pause. And what does it feel like? What does it feel like in your body to really experience that gratefulness, that gratitude? Like, I'm grateful I'm authentic, let's just say. And then I pause, and it's like, God, it feels so good to be authentic. Do you see what I mean? So you're integrating it, not just rotely saying it, which helps. It's better than nothing. But the integration is the most important thing for any practice, whether you're doing an affirmation or you're saying gratitude. Pause and integrate it. Like, really, what is it? Even if you don't know yet, imagine what it would feel like to feel worthy. Imagine it till you can really start experiencing it fully. That's really important, because practice, a lot of people think it's rote. It's like saying the alphabet or something, memorization. It's not that. That's just one part of it. Does that make sense, you guys? Because integration is essential. It's like really bringing it into the sensory part of it, not just the verbiage or the reprogramming your mind.
As part of this little practice that I have in the morning, it's I write I wanted to start journaling, and the journaling just was too almost not it didn't have enough boundaries for me. Like it just was too much almost. And maybe someday, I used to do it when I was a kid, and I look back at those journals and I'm like, wow. But anyways, now I write down, I got it from Billy Kalima. It's just that they handed out a sheet of paper, and you write down what you're grateful for, what you're struggling with, yada yada, like what you're going to do to help you with your struggles, and what your goals are. And so I do that. And then on the opposite page, I heard somebody else, and I added this on my practice. I write down affirmations. And the affirmations, I do what you said. I don't do it with the gratitude, but I can now that you told me that. With the affirmations, I'll say, I am managing my finances. And then I take a moment after that and I try to feel like what you said, what is the word? Integration.
Yes.
Thank you for telling us that.
Integrating, because we don't integrate very easily because we don't practice it. But I'm glad you do it with the affirmations because it allows us to start experiencing what that feels like, not just hearing it over and over orally, you know? So that's really important with any practice is pause and what does it feel like? And I just want to get off for a second on to imagine because we imagine things all day long and they're not usually helpful. Okay, we imagine the worst outcome or we imagine this or we imagine and what I'm using and wanting you guys to reflect on, imagine if something's going awry, pause it and imagine it being neutral or good. Do you follow what I mean? Like shift the focus. Use your imagination and because we do imagine things. It's like, oh, when I go there, I imagine it's going to be this or that, and I'm asking you guys to be mindful of when you're imagining something, make it useful and helpful to shift the perspective of always making it something that is going to be difficult or imagining it's going to be stressful or anxiety produced. Do you know what I'm saying? Am I making sense, you guys? Because that's a really big part we don't even talk about how that plays a part, and so with gratitude, imagine that gratitude, imagine it, experience it, taste it, nurture it, right? Do any of you struggle with imagining things in a way that's not always productive? We do. It's so weird. And the coolest thing about it is we can pause it and imagine something else. It's our choice. That's a choice what we're going to imagine. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because it's a very powerful thing that happens to us that we're not even aware of a lot of times. And my favorite line of this, because I feel like it's beautiful, is, hold on, where is it? We spend so much time watching things, movies, computer, blah, blah, blah. But with gratitude, we become greater participants in our lives as opposed to spectators. I want you to really hold that for a minute. So much of our lives we are spectators. We're not participants. We're not choosing. Do you guys realize that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. I think it's critical and crucial.
Mm-hmm.
To participate. Participate means choosing, being aware, being mindful, practicing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone wrote in the chat, Julianne did, I can imagine all the things that can go wrong,
Imagine
right?
that.
But
Imagine that.
never imagine the ways it can go right. It's
Right.
so true.
That was my point about it. It's like we can do so many things, but the simple things are we do imagine all the time. If somebody says, oh, come do this, or let's go do, you imagine all the things that are getting in the way. You don't want to do it. You imagine it'll be stressful, whatever, it doesn't matter. But how cool if you just pause that and say, I imagine it's neutral's fine. Neutral's better than the worst case scenario, but imagine something cool. Does that make, it's just important, you guys, is if we're going to do some of this healing process, these are some of the steps that help us heal and manage the overriding codependency paradigm. you know.
A little trick that I do with that imagining thing, Janice, is because I do imagine the worst, is when I'm driving and I'm looking for a parking space and I'm always like, I'm never going to find a parking space. Now I go, oh my God, there's going to be the perfect parking space right in front for me. And actually it manifested a lot of the time. So that's like a little thing that you can just switch the perspective on. And I try to do that with, little things during the day.
I love that, Sarita. That's exactly what I'm talking about. We could sit there and not find a parking place all day long because we're imagining not finding it. So why not create that intention and imagine it manifesting, you know?
Or maybe even from that place of gratitude, you're able to see it, right? As opposed to being in, imagining the worst case and you can't see anything beyond that,
Right.
you know? Um, One thing I put in the chat, one line in the reading that I really like is an attitude, because she was talking about attitude, and part of that. An attitude is a way of thinking, and a practice is a way of doing, trying, failing, and trying again. I love that because she include failing in there. And I think, and it's like, because failing's not a bad thing. It's like, but you just keep going. You just keep on the path of gratitude. Maybe you're not always living in gratitude, but you have that intention and you take action on it to change that, you know?
Right. And be grateful for mistakes and failing because
Yeah.
you never get anywhere if you don't fail and make mistakes.
I like that one.
You'd be stuck in prison, you
Mhm.
know? So be grateful. It's like, be grateful for your life. Be grateful for this group. Just be grateful, celebrate it, invite it in because it's so rich and it really does change things. Let's say you're depressed, and you introduce gratitude and find anything. I don't care, pick up your journal and start reading your gratitude journal. It'll help shift it. And keeping a gratitude journal is so huge, you guys. And it doesn't have to be a journal like pages. That's up to you. It can just be, 3 things you're grateful for about yourself. That's what I'd always start it with. 3, not about anything else, but about you first. And then add anything else you're grateful for. Oh my God, that dog.
The ears alone on the dog. I'm like
Anyway.
feeling that in my heart.
And what you were saying, Liz, is if you use your gratitude journal at night, right before you go to bed, it will change everything. It will help you get into a state of mind, a different process. It'll make sleep easier and more gentle. And then let's say you're in a depressed place, pick up your journal. Like use it as your resource because it's from you to you. It's really a beautiful way to shift and use it as a resource instead of just something that you write in. Use it, revisit it.
It's so funny because I just revisited my journals from VKM, like from my very first day. And and it was pretty amazing to reread that. Anyhow, Cindy, did you want to share?
Yeah, hi everyone. Just some thoughts that I have about how gratitude is kind of showing up for me. I would say even as recent as 2 or 3 months ago, when my therapist and I were talking about gratitude, I said, I feel nothing inside. I feel dead inside. I feel so dissociated from any sort of feeling like that or any feeling maybe in general, except pain and all of that.
Right.
And so the idea of doing a gratitude journal or the idea of thinking about gratitude during the day was zero chance, no possibility whatsoever, no access to that whatsoever. And for me, I was not able to even be open to that as something that could help me until I think I started changing my neural pathways in a little bit of a different way. Or something, I'm not really sure, but it wasn't working for me. And it wasn't until I started reading things about the fact that my body is, or like say the mind of my body, like if my body has a mind, is very objective. And it doesn't realize that if I'm sad or, whatever, be it doesn't, my body doesn't realize, well, let's see, if I'm sad about something in the past, my body doesn't realize that that event isn't happening right then. My body actually thinks that that event is happening right then. And so so my body believes the contents of my thoughts. And that just keeps the whole cycle going of depression and everything else if I continued living in the past. And so I started doing these meditations that Joe Dispenza recently. And it's all about being in my body and lots of different elements to it. But it's all about like the power of the mind. It's all about like, what does gratitude feel like in my body? What does courage feel like in my body? And I had to get to a place where I could even feel in my body. And again, I think that has like to do with neural pathways and things like that starting to change a little bit from the music that I told you guys about. I think that's a really huge thing. But until I was able to believe that I could change myself, that I could change neural pathways, I don't think these little is what I used to call gratitude, those platitudes. I didn't think those would help me. And now I believe they will. And so being able to feel in my body, starting to be able to feel like I'm changing some neural pathways, and believing that I can do it. And knowing that I'm the only one who can change me. I do believe gratitude works now, but I approach it not from like journaling or thinking of it throughout the day. For me, that isn't necessarily working. Maybe it will at some point, but for me, it's where I have to like be immersed in meditation, guided meditation, and someone helping me really feel it in my body. But I do think it's going to be effective now. Thank you.
I love that, Cindy, because when I first started my practice, I felt the same way. Wasn't connected, and I thought gratitude was a planet. I just was like, I don't know. This seems too simple, and it's not real, but through, like you're saying, through a lot of different things have gotten me to the place where I can live in gratitude much more consistently. And it feels nurturing and comforting.
Yes.
And it feels more safe and secure.
Yeah.
And animals do that for me. I have a dog that connects me to me, but also I'm so grateful for my dog. So it keeps me feeling that gratitude, it's like a,
That's great. Yeah.
it's just different ways we all work. And I'd like to hear from each of you guys, like what is your process? Do you have one? Share with us, um, what works for you or doesn't work for you, or I would love to hear from you guys.
I'll share real quick because that Cindy, you definitely resonated with. I've been go 3.5 years since VKM, and it was no feeling, I mean, like raw, but not deep. And I remember when I started feeling it, so like by practice, I mean, believing in Janice and listening to her and just doing whatever you say, like I believe it. But it was getting in that routine of a morning routine and the morning meditation, the sit and the stretch. It still to this day like makes me feel grounded and me and better. And the moment I don't know, must have been a gratitude meditation or whatever it was, insight timer, but like to have tears of actually like being so grateful and feeling it in my core for one, my sobriety, and two, my awareness to be able to feel that and sit with it and like, and it does take time and it's not overnight, but when you feel it, I mean, and then you forget, and then it's like life happens and that's like blah blah blah. But that practice, and for me it's that morning sit 30 minutes and just like feel it all, if then it's just 5 minutes, but really having those moments and knowing that it's all in there, and sometimes it gets messy and muddled with so much, but it's like meetings like this that it just reminds you, and to bring that practice back, or um start writing like Liz, finding those journals. It's like I want to write a book and I'm like, God, I wonder where those journals are, because I'm going to need to go back and get all that emotion back off those pages. But yeah, gratitude for me is huge because I lost my husband almost 4 years ago. And um, that's what, to find gratitude in losing him, because I found my true self in that, is like, it's what my life's journey and purpose is now. Like, just if I can get through that sober, then anything's possible. So it's a beautiful, beautiful feeling and practice when it's, steady and felt in the right ways.
Yeah. And Stacy, doesn't it bring you back to wanting to feel that again? Like you
Yeah.
said, that's
Yeah, like
but
this conversation just sparked all of that. Like, oh my gosh, I want to get there again and cry and happy to joy tears of like.
yes, I love that, because I was just going to comment on that. It's like joy can bring you to tears, gratitude can bring you to tears. That's a wonderful feeling. That's a wonderful experience. And you can feel overwhelmed with gratitude and joy. It's like a good overwhelm, not feeling overwhelmed because you feel yucky emotions. You feel your whole being is overwhelmed
Yeah,
with
and the
fullness.
yucky emotions come way too often. So those little glimmers of that, spark of pure joy and
Yes,
love is
it's what it's all about.
powerful. Yeah.
It is. It's the path. Thank you for sharing that. I love
Thank
that.
you.
Anybody else want to share?
I'll pop on. Hi everyone, Megan.
Hi.
You. I love the reading and love the gratitude practice, and it's one of the first things that I learned 4 years ago. Excuse me. When I started my recovery journey and got sober, and it's like so simple. And I agree with what you just said, Janice. You're like, really? No, but I can tell a day or a week or a month that I'm not in gratitude. I am a different human. I am the like the parking spot thing, 100%. Like when I'm in gratitude, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's such a great day. Yes, of course we're gonna get a parking spot. And I have 3 little kids, and it's a huge practice that I have tried to implement with my children, because kids are kids. They don't know any better, right? Like we're adults and we don't even know how to handle our emotions and stuff. I always say that, like, I am old and I don't know how to handle my emotions. So how do I expect like a little child to? But when well, let's think about it. When I can tell kids are in a funk or anything, I'm like, well, let's name 3 things we're grateful for. And it's so cute. And like, they'll say my family, my house, school, like it's the same stuff, but if that shifts the switch to seeing pessimistic, negative things, which can be so common today, to seeing something good, like I love that, to watch their shift. But for me, if I'm not in gratitude, I will spot, like, walk in a room and I spot negativity, like how my brain works. So I think in funks or in lulls, Janice, you taught me that, like, get into gratitude. Because, like, truthfully, there's so much to be grateful for in this world. That doesn't mean that like bad stuff doesn't happen, but if you can look for the little glimmers, I mean, sometimes I do it every morning. That's like my practice. I do it, I don't type it or write it at night. I like go to bed and I just like do my prayers and say, this is what I learned a long time ago. So like, grateful for another day to be sober. Like, let's break it down to that simple. Now I'm 4 years in and I'm still say that. But like some mornings it's like my pink candle, my hot coffee. I mean, as stupid as that, but like you're seeing something positive. Cause instead then I'm gonna see like the one dead flower in my yard. Cause that's how my brain works. So I just think gratitude is such a huge part of mental health and recovery and all the things. Cause I think our brains are just wired differently and we see things differently. Like pessimistic victim mode-ish. So thank you, Janice, for teaching me that and allowing me. I gotta be better. Yes.
Well, the thing I was going to say, and I'm glad you're sharing that, Megan, because all that's beautiful insight and awareness. And the other thing is, don't anybody beat yourselves up. If you're not in gratitude, it's not the point.
Well.
I know, but my point is just try your best to, like I said, pick up your journal and see if that promotes it. Whatever is most likely to inspire gratitude, put it in front of you, because you can't live in I don't know, maybe you can. I don't know how to live in gratitude, but I can certainly practice gratitude. But please don't berate yourself, or if you fall off the gratitude wagon, that's not what it is, It's just a practice. That's all it is. And it ebbs and flows, but like each of you said, and I just want to reiterate it, it's like it feels so good when you're there. That's what the balance is, trying to stay kind to yourself, try to nurture that feeling. And it doesn't have to just be gratitude. It can be love, it can be kindness, it can be a lot of different variations, but try to do that on a more ongoing basis to yourself and for yourself, and it's a balance. You're not always going to be this or that. Do you guys know that? It ebbs and flows. And don't, be like, oh my God, it's ebbing. It's like, it's okay. You'll get through it. You've got lots of tools and lots of ways to get through the ebbs, and it'll flow again.
Yeah, just catching myself. Like that's gratitude. Oh, like there's that thought again. I was doing counter. It sounds bizarre. I don't even know. I did a step down here in Massachusetts after being in California. And one of the groups, it was through McLean, pretty interesting place. It was a trauma PHP. And they said, just keep track of all the negative thoughts you have. God, that was
Oh, that would be busy.
yeah, I'm like 100 anyways, but it made me catch. So now I'm not counting so much, but I catch myself.
Yes.
And when you catch yourself, it makes you aware, and then you
Yes.
switch to almost gratitude. So it's kind of,
I love that. Whatever works, because it's like you can't fight negativity. You have to learn and understand it and appreciate it, because otherwise you're going to be in a battle all the time with yourself. You know what I mean by that? It's like negativity versus positivity. That's not the point of it. It's just being aware that those thoughts come and go. You don't have to live there or be caught in them. And I like the idea of counting them. I listen because I want to know what's going on. I just don't act on it, but I am very aware of it.
that's the next step. You just don't act, just don't.
There's steps for sure, you guys. If it were easy, we wouldn't have to have this group. It's a practice. And, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The reason I do this work is it keeps me aware. I am involved every day in my practice because of this work. Do you see what I'm saying? That's part of why I do this work. It keeps it current for me. And, anyway, I just hope this is helping looking at gratitude a little bit differently and more inclusive. And going back to the imagine, you guys really practice that. Practice imagining whatever. Why not? It's a choice now. You guys have choices to imagine whatever you want. Right? It could be a parking space. It could be, I don't know, a new world, a new you. It doesn't even matter. Right?
Janice, it's Julianne. Hi, everyone. I'm
Hi.
having technical difficulties for camera here, but if I could share a little bit about my relationship with gratitude, because um, I used to, people would say practice gratitude, and I would be like, it would become so exhausting for me because as soon as I would think of the things I'm grateful for, like now I can retrospectively see this is as soon as I thought about the things I was grateful for, I went into the worry about them. Like, I mean, the one thing that comes to mind is like the dolphins, and then how like the existential problems that we have in the ocean of like all of the fishing, and like I could go down that it would like automatically go down that path. Um, and Brene Brown, because I've stalked every single talk and podcast she's ever been on, possibly, but was on Oprah, and they were talking about, I think it was her Dare to Lead book, but um, they she said Brene said this: those who live a wholehearted life engage with the world from a sense of worthiness. And because for 12 years of research, I've never interviewed a single person who talks about the capacity to really experience and soften into joy who does not actively practice gratitude. And then she goes on to tell an example or a bunch of examples of what that looks like. And the one that hit me, and I don't even have a kid, but the one that hit me was when you're a parent and you're looking at your child sleeping at night, you can choose to go down the worry of all the bad things that can happen. But the courage to practice gratitude in that moment is to be grateful for, like, to actually feel the gratitude and the love that you have for your child in that moment, and just be present with that love and not present with the worry. And I had those things kind of mixed together, and yeah, they're not so much anymore, and life is a whole lot better.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, Julianne. That was really beautiful sharing that. You know,
Thanks.
we commingle things. We get them all messed up. They're simple, but we make them really complicated, you know? And I would even always will bring it back to just maybe before you go to sleep, just commune with yourself for a minute and be grateful for you, that you're alive, that you're vital, that you're feeling, that you're amazing. You know, nurture that, because you guys wouldn't be here if you didn't feel those things more than not. Right? Anybody else want to share anything that's coming up? And I'm glad we talked about gratitude.
We can't hear you, Kate.
Hey, no, try it again.
It's something on her. She's not muted on the Zoom, but it's let's see if
Technology.
I know.
Did you, can you,
I think it's on her computer. Can you type it in the chat?
Is it the actual volume maybe on her laptop or something?
Oh, bye, Tracy. Thank you. I see you waving.
hi, Henny.
I think it's the uh the audio settings on Kate's computer, but anything anyway.
Hold on. Do you want to log off and log back on, Kate? Because I'd like to hear what you say. You always have something important.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, darn it. Oh, well, Julianne just shared something else in the chat. It's about gratitude journaling at night. Oh, I like that. I started the gratitude journaling at night by committing to writing down at least one thing each night and aiming for 3. It got a lot easier quickly, and I gave myself permission to say I was grateful for my cat every day too. Oh my God, but that was a start. Yes. I mean, when I was looking through my journals at VKM, I was in such depths of despair and like dissociation and all of that, that I wrote the same thing.
Okay.
But it was a start. And then that led to me being able to feel other things and be grateful, develop it, right? Develop the practice. So I totally get that. Nope, that didn't work, Kate. That's a bummer.
I know you're trapped. Well,
I
all
was
right.
just going to say, just a little tool in terms of making gratitude lists. And I don't think Michelle's on here tonight, but she has a great app, a gratitude app, basically, and I'm not sure which one it is. But every morning I would get a text from her saying, this is what I'm grateful for. And it was really cool, not just accountability, but when I saw what she was grateful for, I automatically started thinking about what I was grateful for and sort of sharing it. So that was a fun thing, and something I really appreciated from her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe that would be good for the group, if anybody's willing. We could start a group chat gratitude morning thing.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful and it does remind each other, like, I'm grateful for blah, blah, blah. And oh yeah, of course. So if
Okay.
you guys are willing, Liz, you have to figure it out. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God. Okay, I'm gonna put my cell phone in the chat, okay? If you are,
Anybody that's willing.
if you're interested in having that gratitude chat, please just text me if you know and identify yourself so I know who you are. And I'll put you in my phone and then we can get that text chain going. I've actually never done that. Um so I think that would be really cool. I'd really like to try it.
Yeah, then you don't have to pick up somebody else's. You can use each other's because you're all connected anyway.
Mm-hmm.
A deeper
And
way of appreciating. Mhm.
yeah, so take my number down. Thanks for posting in the chat. Kate, she said that I just wish I felt that joy that Juliana quoted and that Megan felt. Mine is more like lip service. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna write this down and
It's all
I'm
right.
grateful.
But you keep showing up, it will. Just like Cindy was saying, it's like the beginning's the beginning and it will continue to grow. It does. It does, I promise. You know. I just appreciate you guys so much. All right.
Yeah, really great shares tonight.
All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate each of you. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.